animals and families in southeastern Wisconsin. As Angela said, I am Allison Foch-Klybor, and I'm the president and CEO for the Wisconsin Humane Society. For those of you unfamiliar with WHS, we are the oldest and largest shelter in the state of Wisconsin. We were founded in 1879 and operate shelters in Milwaukee, Racine, Saukville, Green Bay, and Door County, as well as a spay-neuter clinic in West Dallas. Annually, we serve roughly 40,000 animals and people who love them every year. It is my honor and privilege today to announce that the Wisconsin Humane Society is expanding. As of June 1st of this year, Safe Harbor Humane Society will join our team, and we couldn't be more excited. Safe Harbor has been experiencing economic challenges that threaten the immediate future of their work in the Kenosha community. And when this was going on, they approached us for support, and after a great deal of discussion, planning, and research, we determined together that acquisition was the way to support and sustain their important work. In late April, both of our boards unanimously approved the acquisition agreement. At WHS, we're no stranger to acquisitions. This will mark our 5th acquisition in the last 20 years. This partnership ensures that vital resources and services for Kenosha's animals and people who love them will continue without interruption. And it also brings strength and stability to the shelter's important work. We're excited to meet with the staff, volunteers, and supporters for both organizations over the coming weeks and learn what we can do together to strengthen our community and make a difference for animals and the people who love them. Change can be a challenge for everyone, and especially during a transition like this. So there are a few things that I want to ensure that you can count on from me and from our organization throughout this transition. First is that we will never compromise that every animal in our adoption program has as long as it takes to be adopted. There are no layoffs or pay cuts planned for either organization during this time, and in fact, we plan to hire a few positions to support this acquisition. Safe Harbor staff will now have access to employer health benefits and insurance that Safe Harbor previously could not offer. And of course, every donor has the absolute and ongoing ability to dictate where their gift goes. Safe Harbor employs over 30 staff and has more than 200 volunteers, all led by an outstanding leader, Amanda Cutler. Amanda has a wealth of knowledge, and we're excited to have her join our team. And at this time, I'd like to invite Amanda up to the podium to say a few words.
Hello, I'm Amanda Cutler. I'm the Executive Director of Safe Harbor Humane Society. I've been the Executive Director only technically for 7 months, but I have been with the organization for over 11 years and worn a lot of hats. We've been working with WHS for several months now, and we've known their work for many years. Most recently, Wisconsin has helped us navigate our financial situation and explore different solutions. They've also welcomed many of our Safe Harbor animals into their adoption program when we were crunched for space. We can't praise their work, their staff, highly enough. That's why our board president and I reached out to Allison and her team. We needed help. Nonprofit animal shelters operate with very few resources, and every organization is separate and has to separately fund overhead costs. We were in a position that we knew wasn't financially sustainable and not good for the long-term health of the organization. The resources that Wisconsin Humane Society can bring to Kenosha County will not only keep our doors open, it will ensure our employees are getting paid for their hard work. And ultimately, it will strengthen our ability to help animals and families in our region. In addition, we expect that this change will bring more support for medical and behavioral care of our animals. The Wisconsin Humane Society employs 10 full-time veterinarians and are experts in the area of shelter medicine. I truly believe that becoming part of Wisconsin Humane Society is the best thing that could have happened for Safe Harbor Humane Society and the animals in our care.
All right, and we'll open the floor for any questions that may be out there.
Allison, I know this isn't new, like you said, 5th acquisition, and even in your time, you played quite an instrumental role in previous acquisitions, thinking Racine campus. Can you talk about how, previous experiences there have prepared you not for this one?
Sure. I was definitely in a different position at that time, so this is new for me, and we're learning together. But as you mentioned, We have gone through this before. It has been tremendously successful for our organization, for the animals, for the people, not only that we employ, but for our communities. And so we're excited to take the learnings that we have from prior transactions and apply them here, but also excited to learn from the Safe Harbor team about the awesome work that they've been doing and figure out how to stitch that into our larger organization as well.
How soon will people have access? I know you have an amazing website, and a lot of people go there to see what animals are available. How soon will people have access to the Kenosha location on your website?
Sure, that's all being worked out in the details, but we are working out a plan where we can cross-reference each other's websites. So while that may not take place on day one or maybe even in month one, depending how quickly we can move, they'll definitely be able to have a link that gets them over to see the wonderful animals available for adoption in Safe Harbor as well.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You're good. What are some of the differences the animals are going to see? You mentioned like the financial hardships, and of course, I'm sure the team at Safe Harbor does everything they can to keep the animals comfortable, but with Wisconsin Humane stepping in, what kind of differences are the animals going to be able to see now that they have all the support that they need?
Thank you. As you mentioned, the teams on site do everything they can. They're wonderful, and we're really excited to bring some of the resource and processes that we have as an organization. So as an example, we have 10 full-time veterinarians within our organization, and so just being able to bring that resource internally for animals so that they can move through the system faster, it's going to keep them healthier, allow us to serve them better. Likewise, our behavior support, our foster network, these are all things that already exist at Safe Harbor, so we're just looking to enhance them as well.
You mentioned that there may be a potential to hire some more employees with this merger.
Mhm.
Do you have any idea of exactly what you're looking for moving forward?
We are working on it as quickly as possible because that support in order to make this as successful as possible is going to be needed as soon as we can pull it together. But all of our positions, and we're hiring across our locations right now, will be available on our website as well.
Are there any trends that you're seeing in regards to animal intake? Are you seeing more now kind of post-pandemic? Are you seeing people kind of giving animals back more often, or vice versa? Kind of tell us the need for adoption right now. Of course, there's always a need, but is there a heightened need
Sure.
at this time?
That's a great question. It is a unique time in animal welfare. I've been in the industry for 16 years, and so I've seen a lot change, and the pandemic was incredibly unique, lots of learnings, lots of challenges, and that continues to be the case. Intake is not as high as it was before the pandemic, but it's getting close, and for certain populations of animals, it is above pre-pandemic levels. The biggest challenge facing us right now is that animals are staying longer. And so when animals are coming in and staying longer, we just end up with a higher daily population, which taxes our teams. And so the need for adoption is great. We have wonderful animals available across all of our locations, and certainly at Safe Harbor as well. And so there is absolutely a need. The intake trend is that we are starting to see animals come back to the shelter. They're not necessarily correlated. They're not post or pandemic adoptions being returned. We have factors like inflation. Affordable or accessible veterinary care is hard to come by. And then we also have just a veterinary shortage in the industry, not just for shelters, but for private practices as well. And then when you layer on another systemic challenge like housing and pet-friendly housing, there's a lot of reasons that animals come to the shelter.
What are you most looking forward to with the new amount of resources that you and your team are going to have?
Oh, I'm definitely most looking forward to just learning new things and seeing just a different way. I've always been at Safe Harbor, so it's very interesting to see new and different ways to find animals' homes.
In the FAQ, I know it mentioned the top priority being getting to know the team, but it also mentioned building improvements and improved processes. For the two of you, maybe any specific examples of things you're looking at on those fronts?
Sure, and Amanda, feel free to chime in. I know a couple of the things, we had the opportunity to connect with a lot of the Safe Harbor team last week and start to pick their brains of what they'd like to see done. So some of the improved housing standards for dogs, for example, there's a lot of dogs that face each other, and we can do things like renovate those kennels a bit by putting a barrier up just to eliminate some of that visual stress that they're experiencing. And then on the process side, one of the core processes for us is a low barrier adoption process, same day adoptions, and a lot of that the team is excited about, and by having the veterinary resources and whatnot, we'll be able to move that process change forward.
Yeah, I think adoptions is definitely one of the areas I'm also most excited about changing, and making it so that those animals can find homes so much faster, with both the ability to spay and neuter less than once a week, and and then removing those barriers and changing that adoption process is something that I have wanted to do for years. So very excited about that.
And I know the organization uses volunteers. What would you say to those who want to get more involved and maybe they didn't have the opportunity to do that before, as you continue to extend into Kenosha County?
Sure. Volunteers make this place happen. We could not do this work at this level without the support of our volunteers. And so there's a volunteer opportunity out there. People can go on our website and go start the application process and process to become a volunteer. There's in-shelter opportunities, there's foster homes, there's events, there's ways to get involved, and we need the support. Whether it's dog walking, bringing animals into your home through foster, there's many opportunities, and we're looking forward to learning more about the volunteer program at Safe Harbor and kind of melding those things together.
And when people donate to Wisconsin Humane, now it's going to be going to that, part of the funds of donations can go to that campus, right?
Absolutely. So we are a private nonprofit. We're not a part of an umbrella agency. There's no national Humane Society, so every donation that comes to the Wisconsin Humane Society funds our operations. Of course, as mentioned before, if folks want to donate specifically to Kenosha or specifically to Racine or Milwaukee, we will absolutely honor that designation. But we are one agency with these now soon-to-be 6 sheltering campuses, and every donation goes directly to the operation of our organization.
How crucial are those donations just to be able to get everything going?
They are essential. It is absolutely the lifeblood of this organization. We're incredibly privileged and honored to have the community support in that way, and it honestly, our organization would not function without the support and contributions from our community.
Allison, can you spell your name for?
Yes, I will try. It is ALISON FOTSCH KLEIBOR. Any other questions? All right. Thank you all for coming.